Hi everyone, it's Kim from Fleece and Harmony in Belfast, Prince Edward Island, and welcome to our knitting podcast where we talk about our farm life because we have a sheep farm, and we talk about our shop life because of our woolen mill and our yarn shop. If this is the first time you've been joining us, then we will start with a farm update as we always do. For those that are regulars, you know about the farm update, but we have something special today in this episode. We also have, there's no finished objects, but there's 2 whips. So we'll talk about the works in progress that I'm working on. And we have a humongous shop update because a lot is going on. It is knitting season. So we're not going to have an in the mill section this week because we actually finished all of the different steps of the yarn making process in the previous episodes. So we will intend to bring in the mill segments as we think of things that we can talk about that are specific to yarn making. But this episode won't include one. We will have another Rowan slideshow because we're going to talk about the latest, the last segment in the Rowan magazine number 70, which is the Vivid collection by Georgia Farrell. And then we have a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about in the shop update. So it's a beautiful day today, and it is October 15th. If you're watching this on the day that this podcast has been released, it is supposed to get up to 21 degrees Celsius, which is amazing. That's over 70 degrees Fahrenheit. But it's quite cold at night. So it goes down as low as 4 degrees Celsius or 40 degrees Fahrenheit in the evening. But the days have just been glorious. So a day or two ago, we decided that we would record us doing the chores in the morning. So that's going to be the farm update today. So I don't have to talk about it because you're going to see everything as it happens in the video. It's pretty long, so you'll be able to see all the detail that you want to see. And we're going to take a little walk around the farm as well, just to kind of give you a little bit of a tour. So we're going to go to look at that right now, and I'll see you back here on the other side in a few minutes. Morning, we're doing the chores. So this is the farm update this week. So you're going to get to see it kind of, well, not live, but as we're doing it. So the first thing that we do is we give the horses their mineral for the day. So I'm just going to scoop that up. Okay, so that's that, and then we take the buckets over to the apple tree and we see if there's any apples that we can give to the horses. So the apple trees are all really, really old and overgrown, so we don't actually eat the apples off of them, but we do collect them up and feed them to the horses. So we're almost to the end of the season, but because they've gone on the ground, we just have to make sure that we're picking out ones that haven't been half-eaten by something else. So we'll see if we can find a couple good ones. Here's a good one. Here's a good one. Here's a good one. And then I just break them apart a bit. One for each of them. That one's a little bit small, so somebody's going to get a little bit less. And then we go over to the horse pasture. Yeah, they're all ready waiting for their breakfast. You know, we're actually a little bit later this morning, so they've been waiting here for a little while. Oh, it's Miles that's waiting. The other two are not over here yet. Maybe they gave up on us and left. Yes, like for breakfast. Hey, buddy. Ready for breakfast? Come on, you two. There you go. Comes Purdy. Hey, Purdy. Failing slow, so we're just going to wait for her to get over here. Get it over. She's a little overweight, so we have to keep a feed mask on her so that she doesn't slow down her eating. But we let her eat her breakfast without it on, so we're just going to let her eat there. And then I usually walk down and see if the new pasture that we're have planted, if that's ready. Okay, so now the horses have their mineral, so we're just going to take a walk down along. We're on the outside of the horse pasture, so the horse pasture is to my right, and so they're on their way to go eat some grass. Then on my left, we have a pasture that's kind of gone fallow because there was so much grass around that the sheep didn't eat in here this spring. So it's a little bit overgrown, but the sheep are there. We're going to go visit them after. And so we're walking down between the sheep pasture and the horse pasture. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a tree line right in front of me and another big field. So that's the field where we cut our hay for the sheep every year. And that's the field that didn't get cut, that we told you about, that we had to, we just cut it and then we let the hay go back into the earth to replenish it because it was too late to actually be able to feed it to the sheep. And beyond that is a wood lot, and the wood lot is about 22 acres or so, so you can see that in the far distance. And the pasture we're coming up to is the one that we renovated, so that also got planted late because of everybody was scrambling to get their fields done. And the Harmony moment with the tractor that you saw was working in this field here. So we're going to come here and just look to see. So what's happening now with the weather is that last night it was around 4 degrees Celsius, which is about 40 Fahrenheit. And the sun's really bright here, so we're going to just try to change angles and we'll try to pan over the field. But it just has like the tiniest little haze of green on it. And I like the gardener tending their garden. Every morning I come and look at it to see how it's growing because I'm afraid it's going to get too cold too quickly. But we've got a run of some really nice days coming up today and tomorrow, and the next day are still going to be sunny. So I don't know if you can see, it's just got it covered with a light green haze. So there's grasses and clover and everything here. And the clover and the other species other than the grass is it's Timothy grass. Oh, I don't know what. Yeah, it's a grass, I guess. And the rest of it is all just starting to come up. So every day that I come down and look at it, it's grown. You can see the difference every day. So that's good. So it just has to hurry up now. So I come down every day and look to make sure, because we had planted it so late that I'm a little bit afraid that how it's going to overwinter. But the farmer says that we had it done. The farmer who did it for us says it should be fine. So we're gonna hope so. So now we're gonna go back up to the sheep to do the sheep. So we're on the way back up to the main part of the farm, and we're going to do the rabbits and the sheep now. Okay, so remember to pick up the horse buckets on my way back. And so these trees that you see are fruit trees, but we haven't been very successful with the orchard that we wanted to try to start. So we have trees, but we don't get much fruit. So we're coming up to the shed where I was putting the horse feed in, and this is a really, really old kind of ramshackle shed, but we have a new roof on it, relatively new, and in the back of it is where we made the rabbit hutch, but it's really too dark to see much, I think. So we're going to get the rabbit food ready. That's the next step. And oh, I forgot my scoop. We just have straw on the bottom of the rabbit hutch. And every morning they get their little kibble. And we change their water dish. So we're just we used to have waterers that had the little spigot on them, but they actually prefer the open pan of water better. It's easier for the rabbits, but they don't always use a litter box. So we have a brush and a bucket, and we sweep up everything that might have missed the litter box. And now I'm going to see if I can grab Grace, so we'll just be back in a second. Here she is, Grace. Yeah, what's that? Somebody different. So we're just gonna sit for a minute. Yeah. So this is what we do. She's all healed up. Her fur is short because I trimmed it all to make sure that I was able to. There, I can see she's starting to relax. Yeah. Anyway, it's not quite the same when it's just the two of us, but you get the idea. Her ears go up. Sometimes she likes a little scratch under her arm. I don't know. But anyway, she's all good now. So you wanted to meet Grace, so that's Grace. That's it. So now it's time to check the sheep pasture, and Paige has her own apartment in one of the sheep barns. So we'll see her as well. So, of course, we always close the fences as you go through them. So this is where the sheep stay for the winter, and we have two barns. We have what we call the old barn, which is a small barn here, and then we have the new barn, which is a bigger barn, but over on the other side. So the sheep actually have free access to this small barn, and they're coming in and out all the time with that. And they're down at the back of the field right now, but we'll call them after. I have to turn on the light in here. The sun's not in the right. This is where Paige lives. She has a double-decker hutch. And I'm just going to get her dish. She's got a little shelter in there. So Paige gets her little kibble. Looks like she's been rolling around in the... She gets her kibble and some fresh hay. Come on. Here she comes. And what she usually does is grab the dish and then takes it into her house. So I guess she doesn't like people looking at it. And her water dish is perfect, so we don't have to do anything there. She also has a litter box. She's pretty good about using her litter box. There we go. So that's quick. Now we'll go see what the sheep are up to. Oh, here they come. Hey, girl. Oh, we're not sure. Come on, girl. Well, there's actually girls and boys, but come on. Yay! They probably think they're going to get moved somewhere. So they're pretty fat. Hey, girls. All right. So here they are, all coming for their scratches. And their wool is getting really thick. It's to almost, we'd almost be able to shear it. So a couple of them have figured out that we don't have extra food for them. This is Merlin. He was a bottle lamb, so he's very friendly. And I don't know where Dot is. That was the one that usually comes up first. So Merlin, are you? So you can smell the sun is on their wool, and you can smell their wool. Yeah, that's Fancy. She comes to get her scratches. She's an old girl. So that's, I think that's about it. They all look good. Everybody ran over, so no one was slow, so that's good. And that the big black-faced one that you can see in the middle there, she's the oldest sheep we have. That's Diva. She's been doing really well this summer because she's eating lots of grass. I think she's got to be 12 years old. That's it. Oh yes, more scratches. Yes. So that's it. That's the morning chores. And we usually just take a little bit of time just to spend with the sheep and just give them a little bit closer look, make sure everybody looks in good health, which clearly they're certainly eating enough, that's for sure. So that's a new one. So actually, I think that this might be Nadia, and she's not jumping in any feeders anymore because look at the size of her. So Nadia has put on a few pounds over the summer. So yes, Nadia. So that's it for the chores for the morning. So we'll just spend a little bit more time here with the sheep, and I'll see you back in the mill. Okay, so now you've seen everything that we do in the mornings. It's pretty easy this time of year because the sheep are still out on grass, so we don't have to bring them hay or anything. And we do bring hay to the rabbits, but it's a handful of hay that they have. So that's pretty low maintenance as far as that goes. And you got to have a great look at our horses. And Talon, the horse that we have the feed mask on, we leave it on and then take it off for a little while and then put it back on because she's got a little bit of she tends to get a little overweight, and so she gains weight really quickly. And it seems that in the mornings, this happens in the spring as well, in the mornings when it's cold overnight and then it's warm during the day, the way that the plants work, they increase their sugars, I think, and she's munching all day, and we need to control how much she eats because otherwise she gets pretty sluggish. So we put the mask on her. And then we'll take it off for a couple days just to give her a break. But then for most of the time, until the temperature kind of evens out and is either all cold or all hot in the spring, as the case may be, we put that mask on so that she doesn't overeat and run into trouble with her insulin levels, I guess is what it is. Anyway, so don't be alarmed. She gets plenty to eat through that mask, but like I said, we do give her a little break every now and then. So that was everything that we do in the mornings on a regular basis, unless there's something special that we have to do, which would be, I do brush the rabbits as well most mornings. I didn't do it in this case, but we do other things that need to be some like little maintenance. For this morning, for example, we are recording this on October 12th, and this morning when we did the chores, we went through the pastures and did a little bit of cleaning up along the fence line because we use electric fencing, and we need to make sure that the plants don't grow up over the wires of the fence, because then they drain some of the energy there. So those are things that we do just on a regular basis, odd jobs that we have to do first thing in the morning. So we'll move on to my works in progress, my whips. So there's no rips. It hasn't been a rip for quite a while. I'm going to touch wood because it's always more fun when there's not rips, but rips are okay as well. And the first thing I'll do is I'll talk about paisley because that's the quickest. So this is the last sleeve that I have to do. This is the last piece of paisley that has to be finished. And I think the last episode I was down here somewhere. So I am knitting along on this pretty quickly. And it's pretty straightforward. It's very repetitive with this checkerboard pattern. So there's nothing really interesting to say other than the fact that we're now halfway up my arm and I only have half more to do, and then the knitting part of the paisley will be finished, and then I'll get to start doing all of the detail work that goes into this project. So there's sequins and there's button bands and there's the neckline would have to be finished as well, but the heavy lifting as far as the knitting goes will be done. And now I'm going to talk about my new whip, which is tungsten. So I have started doing the tungsten sweater with everybody, and I'm just going to, I have a little problem here with the needles. So I'm going to explain that I'm doing the colors a little bit different than the blue kit. I wanted to do the blue kit, but I wanted to keep enough of the colors that I had chosen for the blue kit for you guys to order in your kits, just in case somebody hasn't gotten their kit yet and they want to join in with this knitting. So in case you notice that the colors are slightly different, the blue kit, the original blue kit that's online right now, is made from scree as the main color, which is a light blue. The dark band on the bottom and the diamond in the argyle is sea salter. And then the argyle line that goes through is in frozen. So I didn't have enough yarn of the scree to take it out of inventory because then there wouldn't be any more kits for sale. So I just changed the light blue to clay, which is a little bit more gray and with blue flecks in it. So my color is a little bit different for the main body. I'm still using the sea salter for the bands and the diamonds in the argyle pattern. And I also decided, because I changed the main color to a more gray color, the pink didn't really go as well. So I'm doing the lines in camel, which also has blue flecks in it. So the look is going to be practically the same as the blue kit, but it's just slightly different colors. So there's a couple things that I want to talk about. If you started knitting this, you've already discovered this, but if you haven't started knitting it yet, I'm just going to give you a couple little hints about how to manage this. So hint number one is that you're using DMC metallic threads in this kit, because the whole concept of magazine 70, the beginning of magazine 70, is it's the platinum edition. So that's magazine issue 70, which would be 70 would be like the platinum anniversary. So all of the designs in the platinum collection in the magazine use DMC metallic thread to give some accent to the designs. And in the tungsten, the metallic thread is used in the lines that go across the argyle pattern. So you have to work with these spools of the metallic thread. And I'm just going to take this one, I have it together so they don't get tangled. Once it starts unraveling off the spool, it kind of unwinds because of the metallic, it's quite soft, so you don't need to worry about it being scratchy, but the way that it is, doesn't stick to itself at all. So the minute you start unwinding it, it starts coming off of the spool. So what I would recommend that you do is that you pull off as much as you need. You knit that with the yarn that you're using for the lines, and you would pull off as much as you need, and then I would hook the thread back into the little crease that's there, that everybody that's had a spool of thread knows that there's that little notch there that will hold the end of your thread. So I am putting the thread in that notch as I go, instead of leaving it all loose, because otherwise it does start to get quite tangly. The lines, I'm going to clearly have to take a picture of this. The lines that you create are intarsia. So I just have this wind up a little bit too tight. There. So the yarn lines that you create are intarsia. So you can see it there, I hope. And you hold, in my case, I'm holding the camel and the DMC thread together, and you just get this little very slight hint of sparkle that you probably will not even be able to see on the recording, but it just gives this little bit of interest. And at first, I have to admit that when I started doing it, I was like, okay, well, does make it a little bit more fiddly to use the DMC with it. But I thought, and this is not really worth it, because it's so subtle that I'm not sure that it's really worth it to bother with it. But as I'm getting further, I haven't gone very far, but as I get further, I'm seeing that it does just give that little kind of subtle hint of sparkle. So it does create an interest in the design. So I feel it is worth it to keep going with it, because it just makes it just a little bit special. So it's always the last 5% of something that makes it either excellent or ordinary, and that does just make it a little bit special. So this is the front that I've started, and it's going pretty fast. I only started it, I think it started the day before yesterday, and it knits up really easy. I mean, felted tweed is just a joy to knit with. It's kind of an easygoing yarn to work with. I haven't gotten to the part yet where I start doing one of the solid diamonds, but I would imagine by the time we meet again in the next episode, this will have progressed pretty quickly. It's a very enjoyable knit. I also keep my little DMC spools inside the hole of my felted tweed yarn when I'm not knitting on it, because otherwise all of these spools and bobbins and so forth will get tangled up. So just the trick is just to keep everything organized, and then you'll find that the knitting goes really quickly. So that's the second whip. Now we'll move to the shop update, but there's some kind of works in projects and new patterns to talk about in the shop update. So now it's going to kind of be a little bit of a mishmash of things that we're going to talk about. So the first thing I want to talk about is the Sandy Shores poncho. And this is a poncho that was designed by Susan Clouston, and it's knit from Eldon lace held double. And this is her original poncho that she knit when she designed the pattern. So we have that pattern that's going to be available, just so you see a little bit of how this looks. And You start with a border, a seed stitch border. Then you use the slate from the border with the next color to do a marled effect. Then you're doing a stripe with the whatever color you were using with the marl there. By now, if you've looked at any of the Find Your Fade projects, then you'll know how that works. So you move into the different colors. The Eldon lace is held double, so that's where the thickness comes. And when you're doing marling, you have to hold the yarns double anyway to get that effect. So we are launching this pattern made from Eldon lace. It takes 5 skeins of Eldon lace, and you hold it double throughout. And Jennifer Hicks is doing a different color combination, so I'm going to show a picture of what she's doing because it's just a fabulous rich tone as well, different colors. This one, which was the original one, is slate, amethyst brooch, vineyard, autumn birch, and then you're back to slate again. So she's using those colors. And I can't remember exactly what colors Jennifer Hicks is doing, but I'll write it down in the titles under the picture. I know she's using slate, then she's using amethyst brooch, and she's got autumn birch and plover in there. And but I'm not exactly sure, so I'll just put those down in the titles there. So this pattern is pretty straightforward. It's stockinette through the whole main part of the poncho, and then seed stitch on the border. So it's pretty straightforward, a fun knit to see how the colors develop, and you can certainly choose whatever colors you want to do this. And like I said, it's 5 skeins of Eldon lace to complete the project, and it's a very generous size shawl. I'll just hold it up one more time. There's lots of cozy comfort in there, so it's just lovely. And of course, Susan's patterns are so much fun to knit. It's the same designer that did the Eleanor sweater and the Selkirk flip mitts as well. So it's she always does such lovely work. So that's the Sandy Shores poncho, and you'll be able to get the pattern and the yarn online. And thanks to Jennifer Hicks for knitting another sample, which you saw in the picture. And the next thing I wanted to talk about in the shop update is we still have one section of magazine 70 from Rowan that we didn't talk about yet. And that's Vivid, which is a collection of patterns that were done by Georgia Farrell. So this is the magazine 70 in case you haven't seen it yet. And the Vivid collection is done all completely with Kidsilk Haze. So we're going to jump over to the slideshow for that and take a look at what Georgia Farrell came up with some great designs for Kidsilk Haze. So you may have noticed that a lot of the patterns, the Kidsilk Haze looks fairly substantial. It's not like gauzy at all, and that's because it's held double in a lot of the patterns. So I'm wearing a design which is also Kidsilk Haze held double. This is Madeline by Gallina Carroll. And it's just amazing the way that this comes out when you knit Kidsilk Haze held double. It's so beautiful and squishy and cozy. And it's just, it always amazes me when I'm knitting with it double, because you don't expect it to be as thick as it is, but yet it's as light as air. So all of these patterns are gorgeous, but a lot of them are with Kidsilk held double, so you're going to have that really kind of richness of the fabric. And to celebrate the Vivid collection, I'm going to do a kit for the triangular shawl. I'll show a picture of it again in case you missed it in the slideshow. So that's knit with, in the picture, it's knit with drab, and those great pops of color on the tassels are Candy Girl. And so it takes 12 balls of Kidsilk Haze to do that shawl, and you could see from the slideshow that there's part of the stripes are done with Kidsilk held double, and then in between that you have it held singly, so you get that striping effect, like monochromatic striping effect in the main part of the shawl. So that's a really fun project to do. So, and you saw that it was a really good size as well, so that's a very generous shawl. So we'll offer a kit in that, and we will again include the magazine 70 in the kit, because as always is the case with Rowan, you can't buy the patterns featured in the magazine separately, either from Ravelry or from Rowan. You need to have the magazine to be able to get those patterns. So we always include the book in the kit. And instead of obligating you to do it in drab and Candy Girl, if you order 12 balls of Kidsilk Haze, you'll get that you can order whatever colors that you want. So you would just place your order for 12 balls of Kidsilk Haze and the magazine, and the discount will be applied automatically to give you a favorable price for the kit. You just place your order as you normally would. You order your 12 balls of Kidsilk Haze and you add the magazine to your order, and then you'll get the special price for the kit automatically at your checkout. Okay, so that should give you some fun with that. The next thing on the shop update is kind of something that we showed before, and a lot of you have already ordered it, but it's Blue Stockings, the latest book by Kate Davies. So this was offered as a pre-order. We now have it in stock, and a lot of you would have received your orders already. But I just wanted to talk a little bit more about it, because since I've had the chance to read this book since we got it, and we didn't have it in stock when we had the last episode. It's really a lovely book, as Kate Davies always produces beautiful books. And the story in the essays that are in this book are absolutely fascinating, about the women that were part of the Blue Stockings, which was an association in the 1800s where it was very inclusive. So it was mainly women that were in the association, but they did have men that came, and they were really like a group of intellectuals that really put forward ideas about what would be feminism at the time, and giving credibility to the work that women were doing in writing about like being literary critics and that kind of thing. So there's profiles of 5 or 6 women in here which really made an impact in the life of women in their time period, and they knit at the same time. So you have patterns. You have 7 patterns of for socks and stockings. So some of the socks are quite high, so I would classify those as stockings. And there is also a shawl pattern in this book. So if you haven't gotten your copy yet, it's a great read, and it's a great pattern book as well. So, and done completely in the high quality that Kate Davies always does. The next thing in the shop that I would like to talk about is how our project is going for adding crochet into our repertoire here. And I said that I would order the book Moorit, so I have ordered it and received it. And I would say this is a book that is at the same level as Lina is for knitting. Moorit will be for crochet. The photography in the book is beautiful. The patterns are absolutely stunning in this book. And you have, it's so inspiring to look at it, because it's just whatever whatever you think about crochet, if you're not a crocheter, and some of the limitations maybe that you assume that are with crochet, you are going to have all of your ideas smashed because look at some of these patterns for sweaters. And I'm going to show you another one. These are some of the most impressive patterns that I've seen. They're just beautiful. And the quality of the magazine itself, the paper and the photography is right on point. And it's just a really beautiful, inspiring book. So that is now in stock. Also, we're big fans of Marie Wallin. We carry all of her books that she has that are published. And she actually has 2 crochet books. One is Filigree, which is more of a summer crochet book. So lots of airy tops for summer. And then she has another one, which is winter crochet. So we now have both of these books in stock for crochet. And we also brought in Meadow, which we didn't have before. It was only distributed through Jameson's, but now Marie is distributing it herself. So we were able to get the Meadow collection book in. So that's in stock, so you can order that. And for the newsletter people, you knew that we were getting Cherish in, and now that book has arrived. So we have stock in Cherish, which is Marie Wallin's latest book. It's a rethink of some of her most popular patterns. She's changed the colors and a little bit tweaked the designs on some of the patterns. So these are patterns that you would have seen in other books, but reimagined by Marie. So we have this book now in stock. So that means we have the complete Marie Wallin collection in stock. And I know you noticed that I said the newsletter people already know this, so about Cherish. If you subscribe to our newsletter, then you will, we always feature our newest products in the newsletter first before we announce it here in the podcast. And the newsletter goes out every Friday. And alternatively to the Friday where we launch the podcast, we always feature some new products or things that we're working on in the newsletter for people that are specifically subscribers to the newsletter. And you can subscribe to the newsletter by going to the website, and in the bottom right-hand corner of the homepage, you'll see a place for your email to subscribe. You can subscribe there, and like I said, I only send emails out on Friday afternoons, and you'll get an email every week. The alternate week to the podcast, you're going to have offers that are offered to the newsletter subscribers first. So you can check that out. So that's not all on the shop update. There's even more. So we received the 2 newest Rowan yarns in the shop since we last met at the last podcast. The first one is called Tweed Haze, and I'm just going to show them. So this is a kid mohair and fine alpaca yarn. There are 8 colors, and you can see them in all of their fluffy, lovely gloriousness. I'm just going to take one off and get it a little bit closer to the camera. This is called Midnight. It's kind of like it's a ninky blue. So sometimes I look at it, it looks kind of black, but it's actually a really, really dark blue. And you can see all those little flecks, which are the tweed part. and the haze is the mohair. It's a very soft and fluffy yarn. There is a book that goes with it, which I've shown before, I think. So that's the pattern book. And the designs in this are just beautiful, and you have lots of fun, quick projects. And you also have projects that are like full sweaters and garments. I'm just gonna, there's I'm not really a vest person, but this is really, really beautiful, I find, to wear over. So as I said, the Tweed Haze comes in 8 shades. I'll just show them again. And you may have seen them featured on, we featured them on Instagram as well. And those, I have all the colors, so those are all available in the shop as well. So the next thing in the shop update is the Norwegian Wool, which is the collaboration between Arne and Carlos and Rowan. So Arne and Carlos have finally their own yarn by Rowan, and it's called Norwegian Wool. There is 10 colors, and these are the 10 colors. The colors have been chosen to go with some of the patterning, the traditional patterning in Norway that goes with the traditional Norwegian sweaters. There are 2 little booklets to support these yarns, and there's book 1 and book 2, and both of them are available on our website. And book 1 has some really beautiful bright sweaters and scarves and a dickie. So there's Arne and Carlos with the dickie and the scarf. And then there's also, there's a close-up of the dickie. And I'm just going to show a picture of the sweaters. There's those 2 sweaters, which are gorgeous. So they're using those colors. The wool itself is a 2-ply yarn, and it's made from 100% wool sourced from Norway with the Norwegian brands of, or breeds, not brands, breeds of sheep. And it's a very, it's a soft but I don't know, woolly yarn, I would say, because it's got that lovely texture, that squishiness that some of the more rustic yarns have without being too scratchy. I think you would find this quite soft. The books are, as I said, we have both books available, and when you buy a sweater quantity of the yarns, you can get one of the books for free. So for example, we start that at 10 balls, so they're 50-gram balls, and if you buy 10 balls of the yarn and order the book that you want, when you go to the checkout, the price will disappear on the book and the book will be free. And if you want to order both books, then you could order both books on the order, but only one of them would be free with the yarn that you purchase. So it all happens at the checkout. So you'll be able to see what happens. So you have both of these books. And the other exciting thing about the Norwegian Wool is that it's the yarn that's being featured in Arne and Carlos' latest project for Advent, and if you check it out on their website, you can go over to their website and check it out, or you can look at the last 2 podcasts that they've done, and those last 2 podcasts talk about this project, and in particular the one that they just did on Sunday, which would have been Sunday the 11th of October. They really do the official launch for the sweaters there. If you want to make all 24 sweaters, it takes 2 balls of each of the colors. So there's 10 colors, so it takes 2 balls of each of the colors, except for Daphne, which is the brighter blue, and Cappuccino, which is the brown. You only need 1 ball of those. So for all of the other colors, you need 2 balls, and you need 1 of Daphne and Cappuccino in order to make the sweaters, and then you'll have enough for all 24 of your sweaters. So Arne and Carlos explains that it takes a little bit longer to knit these sweaters than it does the Christmas balls that they were doing traditionally. So they've released their pattern early so to give everybody a chance to be able to make the sweaters before Advent. So you can go check that out on their website, and we have all of the colors available here as well to support that pattern, and also the patterns in the book. So this is really nice. I'm really happy that Arne and Carlos have their own yarn. There's been such great supporters of Rowan, and certainly whenever they use a Rowan yarn, it's really great. They have lovely projects that they make with that. So we're really happy. We also have the yarns that they used in the Christmas balls from 2020. So if you still want to make those Christmas balls from last year, they used alpaca soft DK for those balls. And we do have the colors that they use. They use the deep rose, the white, simply white, and the clover in those balls from last year. So if you didn't get all 24 of your balls done last year, the yarn was hard to find because it was right in the middle of everything that was happening with the shipments in COVID, and there were shortages. So a lot of the stores ran out of those colors of yarns, but we are back in stock. If you want to revisit those patterns, we have those yarns in stock. So that's about it for the shop update. As I said at the beginning, we're not going to do an in the mill section this time. We've done all of the steps in yarn making, and we will do in the mill again on various times as new things come up that we want to show you. But now you've seen everything that we do to make the yarn and to dye it. And I will be launching all of those snippets of the in the mill sections. I'll launch that under another playlist. I don't know if I'll get to it this week, but I will within the upcoming weeks. I will load all of those into a playlist on YouTube. So if you want to go back and see all the segments again, or if somebody new is watching this and they want to see the segments in the mill, they'll all be available there in the playlist called In the Mill. Just want to quickly do a couple updates. The first one is to remind everybody about the Kate Davies knit along that's still going. It goes until November 30th. There's been quite a few projects put in the threads. We do have a draw for prizes, 3 draws actually. We were given a Shorties needle set by Chiagu, and it's the blue set. If you want to look online and see what it includes, it's the small size shorty needles, and it's the kit that's the blue kit. And Estelle Yarns donated that prize for us, so we would really like to make a call out to Estelle and thank them for that. We also received a beautiful cowl from Kate Davies. She not only to her own yarns and patterns and books and everything else that she does offer a selection of knitted finished garments or accessories on her website. And she did send us a beautiful cowl, and we have that as one of the prizes. And she also sent a knitting journal book, and we have that as the third prize. So we will draw the prizes from the finished object threads. So there's 2 places where you can participate in the cowl. There's our community forum, that's the Fleece and Harmony community forum that you can access through the Fleece and Harmony website. And to find that, you would just go on our homepage and go down to the bottom banner at the bottom of the page, and you'll see community forum. And if you click on that, you'll find 2 threads for Kate Davies Knit Along. One of them is finished objects, and the other one is the chatter about the projects. And there's lots of a little activity there about people showing their projects in progress. In order to be considered for the drawing for the prizes, though, you need to post your project in the finished object thread. There's also a thread on Ravelry, and again there's 2 works in progress and the finished objects, and the same for the thread in Ravelry. You will need to post your finished objects in the finished object thread. The Ravelry thread is a little bit more active than the one on our website, but I will put all of the projects together for the drawing so that nobody will be missed if your project is in the finished object thread, either in the community forum or in the Ravelry forum. So you have till November 30th. The more you enter, the more entries you'll have for the draw. So there's lots of small projects as well. So if you finished your big Kate Davies project and still have time to do another either hat or gloves or mittens, or some really great small projects that Kate has patterns for, you feel free to knit those and enter those in the knit along as well. There's finally the Fiber Festival update, the PEI Fiber Festival. There's not really anything to report. We're still just in the planning stages. Again, if you are new about hearing about this, the dates will be in 2022, September 23rd, which is a Friday, 23rd, 24th, and 25th. And that Fiber Festival will be happening here on Prince Edward Island. And we will tell you more as details start to get firmed up. We had to postpone the festival for 2 years because the first festival was supposed to be in 2020, so that clearly didn't happen. And then we didn't want to take a chance with 2021 either, but we're pretty confident that we'll be able to pull it off for 2022. So again, that will be September 23rd, 24th, and 25th of September 2022. Finally, we are at the end of this edition of the podcast, and we're going to go to the harmony part. And again, I have a couple options, so I'm not quite sure what I'm going to choose, but it'll be a surprise when you see it. I was really kind of surprised because there's a lot of people, I guess, that are like me, that like the peacefulness of old cemeteries. So we had some great comments from the last harmony part, and we'll try to find something this time that is peaceful and to end your view with something that's peaceful and calming, as we always try to do. Before I say goodbye, I would remind you to subscribe. If you enjoyed the podcast, then please subscribe on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up or send your comments. As always, I answer every comment and love reading all of them. And I feel like there's regular commenters now. I feel like we're getting to know each other a little bit more. So go ahead and put comments in the comment section. And as I said, thumbs up and click the notification bell so that you know when we've put up a new video. And there will be a couple notifications coming up because I will do the playlist, as I said, for In the Mill. So we will go now to the harmony part, and I wish everybody a safe and joyful 2 weeks until I see you next time on the Fleece and Harmony Knitting Podcast. Bye.